New research shared exclusively with ITV News shows that almost half of nursery-age children in England live in what's been called a childcare desert. Access to childcare is so poor, it's the second worst out of 9 nations surveyed globally. Finding affordable and available nursery places is a huge struggle for many parents, and for some, it's impossible, as our social affairs correspondent Sarah Corker reports.
Britain has some of the highest childcare costs in the world. Lindsay from Newcastle is a mum of 4, including 1-year-old triplets, Summer, Alice and Heidi. At £3,000 a month, her nursery fees are more than her mortgage.
To go back to work part-time, I don't make any money from that. In fact, we're left short every month, and we depend on family, and we are moving to a different area very soon in order to make some money, and it's just survival mode now in terms of finances.
And there are often long waiting lists too. In Worcestershire, solo mum Georgie registered Lucy for nursery before she was even born.
I realised when I was pregnant, probably about a third of the way in, that I really needed to get a place then, even though I didn't know how long I was actually going to have off as maternity leave. So I didn't exactly know the start date of when she was, but I had to register, put a deposit down. That was quite challenging.
1.5 million children in the UK have poor access to childcare, according to new research. In England, almost half of nursery-aged children live in a childcare desert, where there are more than 3 children for every available nursery place. In Northern Ireland, it's 37%. In Wales, it's just over a quarter. And Scotland fares better with 10%, with poor access to places. Regionally, the West Midlands, Yorkshire and the North East have the greatest pressure on places.
There was more childcare available or accessible in the areas where providers were able to charge higher fees.
There is already an expansion of free government-funded childcare for working parents, but nurseries warn they're struggling to cope with demand and rising costs.
There's a large number of nurseries which are at risk of closure, and the numbers have increased significantly since COVID. What seems to be happening is, unless you have economies of scale and you're larger, you are really struggling at the moment.
Years of underfunding have been blamed. Labour has already said it plans to create 100,000 new places by setting up more than 3,300 new nurseries within existing primary schools. But remember, there's already a massive recruitment crisis within this sector, and the big question is, where on earth is the government going to find the extra workers needed? The Education Secretary says fixing the early years is her #1 priority. But for families, it's all too often an impossible balancing act. Sarah Corker, ITV News.